everybody, Jimmy Smith back again. This time to own my absolutely dismal picks from last Saturday. I can say it. I can handle it. Really bad night, but for interesting reasons and a card that was really entertaining. That's the good news here. But a lot of fighters that you've been watching for a lot of years. Crossroads time for a lot of them. So let's get started. On the main card, Beneil Dariush, Ben Wallis Saint-Denis. I picked Beneil Dariush. I thought durable, tough. His strength is his submission game. So when you're taking on a guy who, of his 16 wins, 11 have been submissions, I thought Beneil Dariush had the ground game to avoid that. So Benoit Saint-Denis, not much of a knockout puncher. So I would give Beneil Dariush the edge here. He got knocked out in 16 seconds. That's how my night started. Benoit Saint-Denis, bang, landing a hook over the top when they were in a clinch position. Can't generate a ton of power, but didn't matter. Landed right on the temple. Out goes Beneil Dariush, 16 seconds into round number 1. So the guy who never knocks out anyone at the elite level ends up getting a knockout. Great. Awesome. Wonderful. So Benoit Saint-Denis with a knockout over Beneil Dariush. That's how my night started. 0-1. Next one, Carlos Prates over Leon Edwards. With both Beneil Dariush and Leon Edwards, I had the caveat of these guys could be shot. We haven't seen it yet. We don't know. But these are two guys who certainly could be shot at this point in their careers. Well, Beneil Dariush, I think, all the way down the ladder, he's not going to be doing anything for a while. Leon Edwards, former champion, on a skid. Could he right the ship against Carlos Prates? I thought, well, if he's not shot, he has the technique, he has the skill to maybe make this a kickboxing battle, throw in the occasional takedown, probably win a decision. Round number 1 looked pretty good. Leon Edwards able to use the takedown, use some of the top control. Close round, didn't do anything great, but certainly won round number 1. Then a minute 28 into round number 2. If you saw this punch, it was a left hand from the southpaw stance. And Leon had his hand up. You know, his guard wasn't bad. It just snuck in right underneath, hit him right on the chin. Head snaps back against the canvas. I think one follow-up punch. That was it. Carlos Prates wins by knockout in round number 2 over Leon Edwards. This is going to be, and I talked about this on Submission Radio today, this is one of those losses that's it's just, 3 in a row, Bilal Muhammad, Sean Brady, and now this one. Leon just... It's a long fall. It's going to be a slog back to title contention if he's able to get there. Also, the UFC, yeah, he's a UK fan base. He's got, some juice. But the idea that he's the kind of guy the UFC is going to give a lot of opportunities to, I don't believe that with Leon Edwards. So he's going to have to slog his way back. That's 3 in a row. Bad finish in this one. He was out for a while. I mean, not completely out, but he was eyes wide shut for a while. That was a bad left hand. So Leon Edwards loses by knockout in round number 2. It's going to be really hard for him to get back to even title contention, let alone being a champion again at 170 pounds. So in worse shape than I thought. So 0-2. This one's a heartbreaker. I'm not going to lie. This one's a heartbreaker. Michael Morales versus Sean Brady. I picked Sean Brady. I've liked him for a long time. He's a potential contender. In this fight, the problem was Morales is a heavy hitter, very, very strong. This is the second real elite guy he's fought after knocking out Gilbert Burns. But I thought Sean Brady's ground game would be a bit too much for him. The thing about this fight that struck me from the beginning was Brady wasn't using his strikes to set up the takedown. He seemed content to engage in a striking battle. You got finished by Bilal Muhammad on the feet. Love Bilal. Bilal's not a knockout puncher. Yeah, he never went down, but still knocked out on the feet. I would not trade with anybody. I would not get in a kickboxing battle with anyone. Throw the punches enough to get Morales thinking you're going to kickbox and go for the takedown. Morales did a good job of keeping Sean Brady at a distance, but he didn't have to that much because Brady never really committed to the takedown. If you haven't seen Sean Brady before, he is big, he's strong, great ground game. I broke that down in the pre-fight. Once he gets on top of you, you're in deep trouble. And didn't even commit once to the takedown. Basically made it a kickboxing match until Morales rocked him. He recovered, and then Morales rocked him again, went after him, and finished him. 3 minutes, 27 seconds into round number 1. Sean Brady is done. I think he had the most to lose on this card. Why? Big, strong, physical, grappled at 170 pounds. We need those guys. Now that we have a new champ, obviously I'll get to the main event in a second. Sean Brady's exactly the guy, an American, right? That, okay, maybe he's got the combination necessary to beat a new dominant grappling champion at 170 pounds. Maybe this is a guy. Da 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 da. Instead, he gets the second knockout loss of his career, and I'm not saying he is chinny, but once you get the label of chinny, where man, just touch him on the chin and you can hurt him and he can go down. Once again, Bilal Muhammad, not a great striker, able to knock him out. It's hard to shake that label. And not doing well against wrestlers or grapplers and not doing well against strikers are two different categories. You can't not do well against strikers. If you're a striker and you don't do well against grapplers, they'll put you with other strikers because it makes for a fun matchup. You can do that. Sean Brady's a grappler, a takedown guy, a submission guy who, in his 2 losses in the UFC, has been knocked out. So you start going, well, we're not going to put you against other grapplers. That's not a good aesthetic matchup for the fans. If you can't handle some power punchers, you're in deep trouble. And this is not a good sign. He goes from contender to much further down the ladder against a guy who isn't there yet. This wasn't a title eliminator type of thing. We're taking on another real veteran guy, Shavkat Rakhmonov, something like that. We're just taking on another guy who is on the way up. We didn't know, and we still don't know how good Michael Morales is, but you cannot afford to lose to those guys and keep your spot anywhere near the top of the division. So I think of all the people on this card, not only do I like Sean Brady a lot, I was like, oh my God, what a fall. He is really going to have to get back in, and right now 170 really heating up. Is there a spot for you, really? That is the question. So, a miserable 0-3 to start. Fortunately, I get back into it in the co-main event. Valentina Shevchenko taking on Zhang Weili. I picked Valentina Shevchenko to win this one. I will get into the main event, obviously, in a minute. But this is how you handle a challenge as a veteran, top-of-the-heap queen of your division. Shevchenko was great from the outside, good combinations, good accuracy. Her gas was very, very good. Her takedown was there when she needed it every time. She was, a well-rounded, experienced champion who fought like she belonged there. On my Mount Rushmore of women's MMA, she is 3rd. She is amazing. I only put her behind Cyborg and Amanda Nunes. She's an incredible champion. And it wasn't as though she completely physically dominated Zhang Weili. The takedown was there, which is a form of physical domination, I guess. But it wasn't like, oh, Zhang Weili is just too small for 125. She is a natural 115-pounder. Shevchenko was stronger, but her technique was great. Her timing was great. Her accuracy was great. Her experience was there. Once again, I'll get into the main event in a second. She had the experience of a veteran champion who says, you're coming up to my weight class. I'm going to have too much for you tactically, not just physically, because I'm bigger. I'm going to have more tactically. I own this octagon. This is my territory. You're not coming in here and taking my title. And that's exactly how she fought. Zhang Weili, of course, saying afterward that she's going back down to 115. That makes sense. Taking on Mackenzie Dern. I like that matchup. That'll be a lot of fun. But, she swung for the fences and she missed. It happens. I don't think it's a huge setback for Zhang Weili. Still 115, probably put her number 1 all-time right now. On to the main event. For the odds that I gave before the fight happened, right? My initial picks. I think Islam Makhachev was like a 3-1 favorite. I was said for the odds, you got to go with Jack Della Maddalena. No sitting 155-pound champion, has gone up to 170 and won a title. Magdalena's tall. He's a big 170. Might be able to keep range and distance. He is a very good striker. He did not show up in this main event at all. When the analogy I use in a situation like this is if a football team goes out there and they throw a Hail Mary bomb in the first play and get 6 points, they just got 6 points. It didn't cost them anything, right? Your receiver ran the corner. You got a touchdown. If you make 6 points going down the field, right, eating up time, still the same 6 points. But the running back's going to get hit. Your offensive line has to make holes every single time, blah, blah, blah. There's a cost for that 6 points. You know what I'm saying? That you don't get if you just go out there and score. As soon as Islam Makhachev reached down, got a snatch single leg, and got JDM onto the ground, I went, oh, God, this is going to suck. You have to extract a physical toll from a dedicated wrestler like Islam Makhachev. You have to make him go to his second, third takedown. You have to make a lot of effort. The way Alexander Volkanovski did. He made Islam work so hard. Test the gas tank. Wear the guy out. Make him pay every time he takes you down. The takedowns were too easy. There were double legs. Whatever round it was, third or fourth round. When he went straight to his butt, boom, double leg, bam, went right down. No sprawl, no nothing. I know he'd been working with Craig Jones. Craig Jones was in his corner. Great jiu-jitsu guy. Great submission grappler. But the problem is Craig Jones' game, you don't learn in 2 or 3 months in a camp, right? His game is funky. He tried this thing called the octopus escape, octopus guard get up, and it never worked. And I was like, yeah, you're not going to beat Craig Jones in 2 or 3 months. That isn't going to happen. So he worked with a jiu-jitsu guy on his defense rather than working on wrestlers on his takedown defense. Dude, you're not going to get up once Islam Makhachev has you down. It's not going to happen. So I thought he had the wrong strategy. He was mentally down. His coach was trying to rally him in between rounds because it just wasn't working for him. Didn't throw any feints, weren't any jabs, not a lot of footwork. I thought it was, yes, Islam looked good. He looked solid, very, very good. But JDM just did not put up the fight I would expect from a sitting champion. As I said about Shevchenko, I'm the champ. You're coming up trying to take my title. I'm going to be the boss in here. And he was never mentally or physically, tactically fighting like a champion. I didn't like the way he fought, and I didn't like his mental attitude. I didn't like the strategy. I didn't like anything he did in this fight. And it was totally in Islam's wheelhouse, and he becomes champion at 170 pounds. So dismal, only one correct pick, which was Valentina Shevchenko. But it is what it is. Even guys like me with great picks, sometimes you have a bad week. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I'll be back for the next one.